In the galactic capital of Aurelian Prime, weakness was not just frowned upon, it was catalogued, ranked, and quietly discarded. The Interstellar Academy stood at the heart of the city like a blade driven into the planet's crust. Its spires glittered with honor sigils, each one representing a species that had proven its dominance in the endless competitions of strength, intellect, and conquest. To graduate from the Academy was to earn a place among the galaxy's future rulers. Humans were the newest addition. Officially, humanity had been admitted as a developing species with potential. Unofficially, they were a curiosity. Soft-bodied, underpowered, and absurdly fragile compared to most galactic races. Their only saving grace was adaptability, a trait that impressed scholars but meant little to warriors. Elias Rowan knew this better than anyone. He sat alone in the lower-tier cafeteria, shoulders hunched, his academy uniform still slightly ill-fitting. At 19 standard years, Elias was small even by human standards. His strength scores were abysmal, his reaction times mediocre, and his combat evaluations an embarrassment. The ranking slate hovering above the hall placed him dead last. Again. Laughter rippled through the room as several students glanced his way. A pair of Varkal cadets, towering reptilian bipeds bred for war, clicked their mandibles in amusement. Why does the Academy waste resources on prey species? One hissed. Elias kept his eyes on his tray. He had learned early that responding only made things worse. He wasn't here to prove humanity's dominance. He was here because Earth needed observers, diplomats, and researchers who could survive in hostile environments. Elias had tested well psychologically. He endured stress. He didn't break. But endurance didn't earn respect here. A sudden crash echoed through the hall. Students recoiled as a massive shadow stumbled into the central aisle. The being was enormous. Over 3 meters tall, plated in dark obsidian armor that was not worn but grown. Glowing crimson eyes flickered erratically. A Drakoryn. The entire cafeteria went silent. The Drakoryn were living legends. Ancient, near-immortal warriors who had once ruled star empires before retreating into isolation. Only one had joined the Academy in centuries, bound by an old treaty that required a single Drakoryn to observe galactic youth. This one was named Karzun. And he was bleeding. Thick, molten black fluid dripped from cracks in his armor, hissing where it hit the floor. His massive form swayed, then crashed to one knee. Panic erupted. Students scrambled away, fearing an outburst or collapse. No one moved toward him. No one except Elias. Before he could think better of it, Elias stood up. "Idiot," someone whispered. Elias ignored them. His heart pounded as he approached the fallen titan. Up close, the Drakoryn radiated heat and pressure, like standing beside a reactor core. Elias swallowed hard. "Sir, you're injured," he said quietly, holding up his hands to show he wasn't a threat. Karzun's eyes focused on him, pupils narrowing. A low growl vibrated through the hall. "Leave," the Drakoryn rumbled. "This weakness is not for lesser beings to witness." Elias hesitated, then shook his head. "You're going into shock. Your energy output is unstable." He didn't know why he said it. Maybe training, maybe instinct, but it was true. The medical readouts on the wall were screaming warnings. Slowly, carefully, Elias removed his jacket and pressed it against a ruptured plate, ignoring the searing heat. "I know I'm not strong," Elias said, voice trembling. "But you don't deserve to collapse alone." For a long moment, nothing happened. Then Karzun did something no one had ever seen. He laughed. It was a deep, thunderous sound, cracked and raw. You are prey, the Drakoryn said. Yet you approach a dying god. Someone had to, Elias replied. Medical drones finally swarmed in, alerted by the energy spike stabilizing. As Karzun was lifted onto a grav platform, his gaze never left Elias. Remember this, the Drakoryn said softly. Kindness given without power is the rarest strength. The next morning, everything changed. During combat trials, Elias stood on the arena floor, facing yet another inevitable defeat. His opponent was a Varkal champion, claws gleaming, tail lashing with anticipation. The match began. Elias dodged once, twice. Then he slipped. The crowd roared. The Varkal raised his claw for the finishing blow. The arena lights went dark. A pressure unlike anything the Academy had ever recorded slammed into the shields. Students screamed as ancient runes ignited across the ceiling. A single figure descended from above, wings unfurling like living night. Karzun had arrived. Fully healed. Fully awake. The Varkal froze mid-strike as a shadow fell over him. This one, Karzun said, voice echoing across the arena, is under my protection. Silence. The Varkal backed away instantly, tail curling in submission. The match was terminated on the spot. The council convened within the hour. They demanded explanations. Accused Karzun of violating neutrality. Threatened sanctions. The Drakoryn listened patiently. Your systems reward dominance, he said. But dominance without mercy breeds extinction. This human showed me something my species forgot long ago. He turned, placing one massive clawed hand behind Elias. Not touching, but close enough that everyone understood. From this day forward, Elias Rowan is my ward. Any harm against him will be answered. Personally. No one challenged that. In the weeks that followed, Elias's life transformed. Bullies vanished. Instructors listened. Researchers requested his insight. Not because he was suddenly strong, but because the strongest being in the room stood behind him. But Karzun did more than protect. He taught. Not how to fight, but how to endure, how to read enemies, how to survive when strength failed. Elias learned strategy, empathy, and patience. He became something rare in the galaxy. A bridge. Years later, when Elias stood before the Galactic Assembly as Earth's first human high envoy, they did not see the weakest student anymore. They saw the one who earned the loyalty of a god. And somewhere beyond the chamber, watching in quiet pride, stood the strongest protector the galaxy had ever known, reminded by a single act of human kindness, that true power begins with choosing to care. The galaxy never forgot that lesson.